Hello and welcome to our webinar today, which is all about Totara 9 and why you should be excited. So my name's Amanda Rubathon and I've worked for Kineo as a solutions architect for 6 years. I'm based in the learning platforms team in the UK, in the office in Brighton, and my role involves working closely with clients to implement Totara into their organisation. So as we go, please ask questions. There's a little sort of chat box or a question box you can type into. My colleague Laura is here and she'll be sort of compiling questions and she'll be giving those to me at the end of the webinar so I can look through them and answer them. So yeah, that's it. So let's get started. Right, so I'm going to just look at what we're going to cover today. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of Totara 9 just to walk you through the main changes. And then I'm going to be looking at detail about at our 9 favourite things about Totara. 9 reasons to celebrate the 9th release of Totara. There's a whole lot of 9s going on. So these are 9 things that we think will be really useful to your organisation, and I'll be explaining why. And then finally, we'll be looking at what could be coming next in future releases of Totara as well. So, hello Totara 9. We're going to have a look at a quick overview of what the main changes basically include. So this is a quick diagram to show you Totara 9 in a nutshell. This diagram lays out some of the key changes, and I'll run through each one really quickly. So first of all, we've got job assignments. So this is one of our top 9, so I'll go into a bit more detail about this in a moment. So Totara 9 basically allows a user to have multiple managers, multiple organisations and multiple positions. This is a major game changer for Totara. Like I say, we'll go into this in a bit more detail in a minute. We've got seminar management, which to sort of Totara veterans, they actually know this as the face-to-face activity. So face-to-face has been rebranded to seminar management, and there have been a number of enhancements done. And the end result is a really robust way to support face-to-face or classroom training in an organisation. The changes include a new overview report, which will show all sessions system-wide with a little booking indicator. Users can select their own manager, which is really useful if you don't hold line manager data in your system. We've got the ability to restrict when users can sign up for a session, so you can restrict before or after. There's a new asset management system, which basically allows you to track resources used for training sessions, things like laptops, projectors, and that will sort of identify conflicts as well. And finally, there's more features, but we'll be looking at some of these in our top 9 in a moment. Moving on to look and feel, there's a new default theme called Basis, which can be customised, and there's new default dashboards that you can use. Both are really quite nice. The navigation has been reorganised, and the top nav has been sort of renamed consistently as well. A lot of the tables in the code have been removed from Totara's core screens, which means it works better across a range of screen sizes, and also it's more accessible as well. And finally, there's 2 new blocks as well. There is one called Last Course Accessed and My Current Learning, which shows programs and certifications and courses that people are enrolled on. Okay, moving on to custom evidence. You've now got the ability to add custom fields into the evidence tab in the record of learning. Not spoil the surprise, but yeah, that one will be coming up in our top 9. And also change to plans and audiences, so learning plans can now be created automatically for users in a dynamic audience. Finally, Totara 9 includes a full code merge from Moodle 3, so this includes things like better backup and restore, changes to tagging, and new question types for quizzes as well. Right then, so here we go. In a minute, I'll just leave my slide on. There are Totara top 9. Right. So first of all, we've number 1. It's job assignments. So the first one really is too big a change to ignore. It's the changes. It's the job assignment change. So this is something you should definitely be excited about, as it addresses a major limitation of Totara. So basically, in previous versions of Totara, a user could have 1 organisation, 1 position, and 1 manager. So now users can have 1 or many job assignments. And a job assignment basically is one position, one organisation, and one manager. So what this means for you. So this is going to be really, really useful for organisations where employees may have a primary and secondary job. For example, I worked on a project a few years ago for the healthcare sector where it wasn't unusual for nurses to have more than one role. So, for example, a nurse working in a hospital may work 4 days in intensive care and 1 day in the outpatients department. So this meant that they had 2 separate roles with different job descriptions and also different managers as well. And at Kineo, we've had the request for multiple jobs a lot. It's quite common in the retail industries and hospitality industries to have employees working multiple jobs. So this also means managers can actually share employee data. So if a user has 2 job assignments set up in total with 2 different managers, both managers get the My Team tab, meaning they can share a user's profile and their learning records. And when it comes to appraisals and seminar bookings or face-to-face, it's possible for these to be dealt with by one manager. So where applicable, the employee can select which job assignment they want to use when doing an appraisal or actually making a booking. Finally, this change means that building position and organisation hierarchies for reporting should be easier. So in previous versions of Totara, it's been important to ensure the users who will be running reports sit at the same level or above the organisation they need to report on. And this often leads to hierarchies actually being built that don't reflect reality. So for an example, I had a situation recently while I was working on an LMS for a retailer where they have managers looking after different stores in different countries. The client wanted to create an organisation structure which was geographically based, but instead we had to build one that actually represented the reporting structure, so who had to report on who basically, which just didn't represent reality. So this change will actually mean that a user can sit in 2 places in the organisation hierarchy, and this solves that problem basically. So more flexibilities when using hierarchies. Okay, so what I was going to do is just show you what this actually looks like in the system. So what I'm going to do is just switch to a Totara 9. Right, and I'm going to log in. So I'm logged in as an admin user, and I'm looking at a user's profile called Chaz. And what they have now is a section called Job Assignments. And as an administrator, I have the ability to add a job assignment and also to edit a job assignment as well. And it's worth noting that it's also possible in Totara 9 to populate job assignments using HR Sync. So you have the option to actually import sort of one job assignment or multiple job assignments for each user. So we can see that Chaz has 2 roles. He has a project manager role and a UX consultant role. So let's go and have a look what these look like. Hopefully my screen's catching up quick. So first of all, he's got a job called, he's a project manager. So we've got full name, short name. And then if we whiz down, we can see he's got a position of project manager, an organisation of Brighton, and his manager is a user called David Kinney, who is a lead project manager. And you'll notice that this is the same screen basically as the primary position screen used to be in previous versions of Totara. So if I just cancel, we'll go and have a look at his next one. So he's also a UX consultant, and you can see the screen is exactly the same. We've got full name, short name, and ID number. The ID number is really important if you want to use Totara Sync to actually push in job assignments. So we have position, organisation, and manager called Sandy. And it's worth noting that both of Chaz's managers, so both David and Sandy, will have the My Team tab, and they'll be able to interact and see sort of Chaz's records. And it's worth noting as well that audiences and report builder have also been updated in Totara 9 to use job assignments as well. Okay, I'm going to go back to my slide. Okay, right then, so moving on to number 2, which is seminars. Well, one of the seminar features anyway. Okay, so this is the approval feature in seminars, which also we know as face-to-face. It's taken me a while to get used to actually using face-to-face and not seminars at the moment. Right, so next up, is the new approval options for seminars. So again, just to reiterate, that's a face-to-face activity for us Totara veterans. So previously, the approval options on the actual seminar or face-to-face screens were limited to no approval required, and self-approval. So now there are two new options. We've got approval by role, which enables one or many users with a specific role to approve bookings. And we have manager and administrative approval, which is a two-step approval option, which requires the manager to approve and then another nominated user to approve. And for this option, approval needs to be done in order, first by the manager and then next by the activity approver. So what this actually means for you. So approval by role is really useful if you have a situation where a person other than a manager sort of needs to approve training. So for example, you may have a person in your organisation that needs to have sight of how many and what types of people are registering, either so they could sort of monitor who's registering and who they want to go on the course, but also to monitor costs or make decisions about future training. It could also be useful if you're a training provider using Totara. So this functionality could be used to allow places to be requested by a potential customer, but you don't actually confirm them until the client has actually paid an invoice. And once the invoice is paid, you actually book them on the session. So manager and administrative approval, meanwhile, allows you to involve another person in the approval process as well as the manager. So that could be used to sign off the cost of training or to approve sort of time off for the person attending. It could also be used so that person can book travel arrangements and that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look at what this looks like in Totara again. So I'm just going to quickly flick over to my Totara. Okay, so I'm just going to go and find a seminar booking. So I've got a course called User-Centered Design, and I have a event within that seminar called Research Techniques. I'm just going to turn editing on a minute. I'm going to set my here we go, let's enter. Here we go. So what I'm looking at now is a seminar, which would have been a face-to-face activity in previous versions. And what we have is a new section on that called Approval Options. So there are quite a few new options which you'll need to enable site-wide to see them. So the actual sort of notification approval is all the same. So it's just the user who's actually selected that needs to approve the booking. But yeah, let's just have a look at the new one. So we've got approval by role, which is regional trainers. What have I actually done at a site-wide level is said I want all regional trainers to be an option, and to be there as an option to approve. And then this one you have to enable. And when once selected, obviously the manager will approve, and then you have to select the next sort of user to approve. So I'll just quickly show you that. So it's a case of selecting a user to actually do the approval. Okay, I'm going to flick back. Right, so our next one is all about cancelling an event. So it's another seminar feature. So seminar events, or face-to-face sessions, as I'm used to calling them, can now be cancelled by an administrator. And custom fields can be added to input additional information, for example, reasons for a cancellation. So what does this mean for you then? So in previous incarnations of Totara, an administrator basically had to remove all the users from the event, so they actually got a notification that they've been cancelled from the event, or they'd actually have to delete it. So this meant that all data about the session was lost, and the cancellation wasn't properly recorded in the system. So this amend basically means much easier administration for cancellations. So first of all, there's a specific cancel link. Users booked on the session are notified. And then if you have set up a custom field for cancellation, a reason can be recorded. And once cancelled, the event remains for reporting purposes with all the users still there, but they're not actually booked on the session. And this allows an audit trail to actually be kept. And it also allows all the users to be kept together so you can contact them and let them know when a new session is available. Right, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go and cancel a session as an administrator. So I'm going to flick back to Totara. I'm going to come out of the seminar and we're going to cancel off a session here. Just wonder if I can move this out of the way a minute. Sorry, my webinar window is getting in the way. Right, so I'm going to cancel this one here. So we've got a new icon called Cancel Event, which an administrator sees. So I'm going to hit that. And it's basically telling me I'm going to cancel event in the seminar research techniques. And what I've done is I've actually created system-wide some sort of new fields, one called reason for cancellation. I'm going to say the reason for cancellation was that there were no biscuits available, so we had to cancel the entire thing. And I also added a text box called further comments, so that allows the administrator just to, I don't know, make some notes. So I don't know, the trainer complained there were no biscuits. But these fields could be anything that you want to add. I can't spell biscuits very well. Get rid of that. And it says, of course, at the bottom, are you completely sure you want to cancel this event? All attendees will be notified. This action cannot be undone. So I'm going to say yes. Okay, so this means my event is cancelled. And we can see it has its own status of event cancelled. But we can also notice that the sign-up is unavailable. If we go and see the attendees, we can see, oh, it just says cancel. Oh dear, that's always nice to have on a demo. Can't find data record in database. So what normally happens is that you can see all the attendees on the session. For some reason I'm getting an error today, but never mind. You get the general idea about it anyway. But yeah, normally you can see the attendees, and then at a later point you could actually sort of book them on another session. Okay, so that was number 3. So moving on to number 4. So again, seminars. But what I actually wanted to talk about on this one, what I liked about this was actually the UX improvements for the seminars. So the user interface basically has had an overhaul and has been generally improved. So first of all, as we saw in the Add Edit seminar form, the approval options have all been grouped, which is really nice. And there are other groupings that have happened on the kind of general administrative forms. When you actually add an event, there's a new area. You basically select dates, and then you select your assets and your rooms, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. And there's a new interface as well to bulk add and remove all the users in a seminar. So users are now added or removed in 2 steps. First of all, you select your users, and then you select your options for approval notifications, and you can put in any custom fields as well. So what this means for you. So the general improvement should not only make you a happy administrator, but it should make it quicker and easier to actually create training events. And the manage attendee screens are a lot nicer to use, and there are additional options to define whether you want to send notifications and automatically approve the bookings or not, or approve the cancellations, whatever. Okay, so again, we'll just have a quick look at what this looks like. Oops. Right, so I'm in as an administrator. I'm just going to go back and look at one of my sessions. Right, so I'm just going to edit this one here. It's one where a sign-up period isn't available. So this basically just shows the new layout for the editing event screen. So normally there was like a little date field here, but you can see it's sort of been redesigned. So you assign a time and a date to a session, and then you can select a room, and you can select an assets. And this just is a really nice little interface, really. A much nicer way to do it. So this looks just a lot cleaner and a lot tidier, I think. So that's the kind of an example of the editing event screen. And then what I was going to do is just show you the attendee screens quickly. So if we go and have a look at this one. So like I say, the new attendee screens to add and edit is now a two-step process. So we're just going to add some users. So first of all, we select the users, and this is just basically what the interface used to be like. Except what you used to do is have a button down here. It used to sort of, I think it was called Don't Send Notifications. But instead what we do is we continue. And then we have options to sort of turn on or off notifications, so send booking confirmations. And we can actually sort of say, no, I want to approve them straight off. And then we also have sort of additional fields, which I think are ones that I've set up in the custom fields. So you can actually sort of put one value in and it will populate for all of the users. I'm just going to confirm that. But I think this screen has really improved and is a lot nicer to use. So that was my number 4. Right, so moving on to number 5. This is the last seminars one, I think. You can say the seminar, there's a lot of changes in the face-to-face or the seminar module in Totara 9. Lots and lots of changes and lots of good things as well. Right, so this is the last one for seminars. So basically, on the attendee screen, there is now a PDF download featuring all attendees with an area for signatures. So it's basically like a pre-made attendee sign-in sheet for you. So it's a really small change, but it's a really nice little change. So it allows you to download a PDF with a start and end date for the actual event, the maximum bookings, and each attendee is listed out with a little place for them to do their signature. So what this means then is a quick one-click attendee sheet, which should make trainers very, very happy because they don't have to fiddle around, download all the attendees and then fiddle around in Excel or Word actually creating a kind of sign-in sheet. And as it's implemented using Report Builder, fields can be added and removed if you wanted to customize it. And also, as it's a PDF layout, it prints quite nicely. So just to quickly show you this one. So we were on the attendee screen, so we should be able to see it really easily. So down here, we've just got our list of attendees, and then we've got this kind of like little area, and we can just download the sign-in sheet. So let me just open this up and just show you what it looks like. There we go. So I might have to zoom in a little bit so you can see it. We can see seminar research techniques, start the session, the end date, the maximum bookings, number of attendees, and for each attendee, you've got, I haven't written anything in the sign-in note, but if that had been populated, that would appear. And then the signatures. So the trainer could just come, they could print this off, and they're happy days, they could run their session and everyone could sign in when they come in. So there we go. It's a small change, but like I say, I think it's a really nice little one. Right then, and on to number 6. So this is looking at the custom fields in the evidence tab. So the evidence tab in the record of learning is a place basically to record any offline training done outside the LMS, or it can be used to provide supporting documentation with regards to learning. And up to now, it's been fixed fields. So the user, when they go into their record of learning and they hit evidence, they've had to sort of define, I think, a name, a description, a link, an institution, date completed, and they can upload a file as well. And this is something at Kineo that we've been asked to customize a lot, either to replicate an organization's CPD form, replicate a form for shoulder-to-shoulder training. So, you know, I think that comes from retail, really, is where a manager is taking someone onto the shop floor and training with them. Or we've been asked to customize it to record evidence in a specific format for an awarding body. So what this means for you, this change basically means you can customize the evidence form the user fills out when they actually go to the record of learning. You can add sort of fields, so text fields, drop-down menus, files, etc. So you can really customize it for your organization's needs, really. So let's have a quick look how we would do this. So what I wanted to do is quickly log in as a user, just to show you what it looks like or what I'm referring to. So I'm logged in as Chaz, who is just a general learner, and I'm going to go to his record of learning. And I'm going to go, hang on a sec. I'm just going to go to the other evidence tab, and here I have a form basically to add evidence. So I've got evidence name, evidence type, description, that sort of thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just quickly show how I would then customize this as an administrator. So I'm just going to switch views and go in as an admin user. And I'm going to go to the administration menu. And I'm going to go to learning plans and evidence custom fields. So you can see these are all completely editable. I can actually delete a field if I don't want it. So if I don't want the description field, just get rid of it. Oops, get rid of that. And if I wanted to actually add a new field, I can do that as well. So I'm going to do a date time. And I'm going to put in a field called review date. Okay. So I can say whether it's required or not as well. Yeah, that will do. We've got 10 years. So now I have a new field at the bottom of the form called review date. So if I log in as Chaz again, as the learner, I add evidence, hopefully what we will see is my new field there, which we do, so that's good. So like I say, you can completely customize this now. I think that this will be a really nice little addition really, and will allow organizations to completely customize this for their own needs really. So yeah, custom fields. Right then, so moving on to number 7. So this is all about programs. So a new option has basically been added to program course sets called All Courses Are Optional. And it's now possible to create a program with course sets that don't require any of the courses to be actually completed. So why is this going to be useful? So it could be used in a variety of ways. First of all, it could be used to purely create a program as a collection of courses which users can complete as they wish. So in the past I have misused programs. That sounds a bit strange, but I have. But I used it, for example, in a project called Minded, and programs were just purely used to create a layout of a recommended way to do courses. So like I say, it was more recommended than you have to do them in this order. So that's one way it could be used. Or what you could do is now create a mixed program, so kind of like a program with things that users must do, and then a section for things they could do if they wanted to do, almost like additional learning, which isn't required, but things you could do. Alternatively, it could be a good way to add additional resources to a program without affecting everyone's completion as well. So very, very quick demo of what this looks like. I need to just log in as my user Chaz a moment. I'm just going to go into my programs. I've just got a little optional program here. So you can see over here, it just says basically that all courses are optional. And that's it really. So rather than having sort of you have to complete one or many, you can just do sort of as any courses in that set as you want to really. So again, it's a small change, but it's a nice little one, I think. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Reset Dashboard, which is an administrative thing. So this is actually a feature from Moodle 3. It's a really nice little administrative feature. So there's a new button that's been added onto the dashboard called Reset, which basically does what it says on the tin, really. It resets all users' dashboards. So it's really useful because if you make a change to a dashboard as an administrator and you want to ensure that all users see the changes, you can use this button and it will refresh all of their dashboards, basically. And this is really useful. especially if you let users customize their own dashboard, so if they've added their own blocks and things like this. So previously, this would have actually required a script to be run on the database. So it's nice that now all that happens is it's an admin task. You can hit a button and it will just completely refresh. Right, so I'm just going to go and show you what this actually looks like. So what I've done, I'm in as a learner here. I'm just going to go and have a look at Chaz's dashboard. So Chaz has actually customized this this dashboard by himself because he's got the rights to actually customize his own dashboard. He added this block in here. But as an administrator, what I want to do is actually just get rid of that. So let me just go to Manage Dashboards. And there's been a few things added into the dashboard which are really nice in Totara 9. For example, you can clone dashboards now as well. And you can also make them available to all logged in users as well, which is good. So we're going to go to the new blocks dashboard. So you can see I don't see that block, but what I can do is I have the reset dashboard for all users. So if I hit this and I continue, it's just said dashboard reset has been done. And then if we reload this page, this is Chaz's view, it's gone, so I've wiped his block. So like I say, this is just really useful if you want to ensure that users, first of all, are seeing the most up-to-date dashboard that you've created. So if you're using dashboards as home pages, this is really important. Or if you just want to ensure that any blocks that they've added are wiped off, then you can do that. I think it's quite a nice thing. Okay, right, coming up to number 9. This is my favourite one, I have to say. Job assignments are good, but drag and drop quizzes are good fun. Right, so this is a new feature from Moodle, and it's basically some new question types which can be used in the quiz, which have been contributed by the Open University. So we have drag and drop into text, drag and drop markers, drag and drop onto image, and random short matching answer. And I'll show you some examples of these in a minute. The image drag and drop is really good fun. It's quite good fun. So what this means basically, so you can have a bit more fun in quizzes and make them more engaging. So rather than having sort of questions with text options underneath, you can add images, just make them a bit more interactive. And visual questions are also supported. So ages ago, a long time ago, since I've been at Kineo for about 7 years, I think it was about 6 years ago, I worked on a project for a tractor manufacturer called Class. And basically our learning was focused on teaching technicians how to do maintenance tasks on these enormous tractors, and what they really wanted to do was to have a picture of an engine and basically get students to label it with all the different things that you could do with this engine. So with these new question types that would have been completely possible, but at the time we had to do some customization and it was a bit messy. Anyway, I'll show you what this looks like in the actual system. I don't know why tractors have completely amused me, but they have now. I think it's because I've got a 2-year-old and he's just obsessed with tractors, but never mind. Anyway, I'm logged in as Chaz, he's a learner, and I'm going to go and find a course which has all the new quiz types. So I've got a course with new quiz features. So I'm just going to open this one. Okay, so I'm going to continue my last attempt. So this is a quiz that has all those new features. So I'm just going to have a look at the list a minute. So here's I think this one is random short answer matching. So what you can do is you can create a list of possible answers, and then you can sort of insert them into sentences. So I've created this list, and I'm trying to remember what the right answer is. So I think the toe bone is connected to the foot bone, and the ankle bone is connected to the heel bone, possibly. So this is quite a nice little feature, just quite pretty in a quiz as well. And then we've got sort of drag and drop onto image. So what you can do is load up a load of images, and then you can actually drag and drop them onto another images. So I have got all of the Spice Girls dolls here, and what the idea is you have to match the Spice Girl with the sort of person. Right, so hang on a minute. I have done this a number of times. You think that I haven't, but there we go. So I think we've got posh, sporty, scary, baby, and ginger. So that's that one. This one is similar to the sort of random short answer. So this is drag and drop into text. So again, you can define a list of words, and then you can sort of create sentences and then pop the words in. So there we go, pop those ones in there. And then finally, just to continue the theme of pop, here we have steps, and you have to label them, and I'm not very good at this one at all. So yeah, this is drag and drop markers, so you can load in an image, sort of create some markers, and then sort of put them on. So we have got, oh gosh, no, I really am struggling. We've got H, we've got Lee. You have to put it on their noses, that's how I've set this up. We have Lisa and we have Faye. So there we go, and then we'll see if I'm right in a minute. Let's just submit all and finish. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, I didn't get that one right though. I think I got my spy skills all right. Yep. Yes, I did. And oh, I got partially correct. You have correctly selected 3. Oh, never mind. I never that big a fan of steps anyway. So there we go. Right. So that was my roundup of 9 things that are great about Totara 9. Right. So we need to talk about what's coming next. So I hope you enjoyed our roundup of the top Totara features. So we basically think the Totara 9 release has some brilliant features, and we're really excited to see where Totara is heading next. So the following things have been mentioned on the Totara roadmap and also as part of the community forums. So Totara have made it clear that they're improving the user experience of Totara LMS out of the box, and I think in Totara 9 it's quite evident really. I can see there's definitely been changes in the seminar screens, the face-to-face screens, and there's been changes that have been happening on the navigation and dashboards, and I think these are really great. But things that have been rumoured to be sort of changing next could be the new course catalogue interface. That could be redesigned. Record of learning, they're looking at redesigning that. Looking at progress bars, making them more kind of efficient and timely. I think you have to wait 10 minutes at the moment for a progress bar to update, so that hopefully be something that will change. Course views without enrolling, looking at the admin and the management interfaces, and looking at publishing workflow as well. In terms of core features, so Totara used the Totara community to gather requirements for new features, and the following have been mentioned as possibilities for future sort of new core features. So we've got mobile offline content, which I think would be really very popular. A new global search, webinar integration, support for CPD and gap analysis. And possibly a new global search as well, which I think I just mentioned. So good, I named it twice. There we go. And then finally, looking at learning metrics and reporting. So to improve the use of metrics in Totara, that's been something that's mentioned as something that might be on the roadmap. And this could include report builder performance improvements, improvements to graphical reporting and dashboards, work on a learning record store, whether that's related to use of TinCan, I don't know, that could be, and looking at site analytics as well. So there's obviously lots to look forward to, and something you may also want to get excited about is our next webinar, which covers Kineo's new SaaS Totara solution as well. The link's up on the screen, but when you get the webinar recording, you'll also get details to sign up as well. Right, so hopefully we've had some questions. I've got one question. Sorry, I'm just talking to my glamorous assistants. Will my theme still work? Okay, so basically, it depends on what version of Totara you're currently on. So if you've got a responsive theme, which is 2.6 onwards, this would need a little bit of work to get it working perfectly in Totara 9. But if you're on an older version with a non-responsive theme, what you might need to do is move to a responsive theme, basically. think we're still assessing what work needs to be done for themes and getting them working in Totara 9. But yeah, the Kineo have, so the Kineo responsive theme, yeah, we have like a base responsive theme, so I think that's something we could definitely use anyway. Was that all our questions?
Otherwise, they've already been answered.
Oh, brilliant, okay. All right then, I think that's basically it then. Oh, hang on a second.
Do you know what webinar platforms are being worked on?
I don't know, no. I really don't. Again, it was basically things have been mentioned in the community as possibilities, so that's all the detail we have, and a webinar integration was one that was mentioned. Hopefully it would be something that would be, you know, work across a large range of webinars really, things like WebEx, but yeah, no indication of what webinar software it would work with. Okay. Oh, hang on a minute. I've got something in my chat a minute. Okay. Our installation is internet only. Does not have access to the internet. Are there any features native to Totara 9 that require access to the internet? I would say that you need to have the internet to use Totara 9, really, because it's a web-based LMS. But maybe, I don't know if Andrew's there, whether you could just provide a bit more information. Oh, it's internet only. I'm sorry, I'm totally misreading that question. Features that require access to the internet. I think maybe you're asking about offline features, possibly. It's on our local area network. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think I can answer that one, to be honest. I don't know much about local Totaras. I think everything would work if you installed it locally. It just should work like it would do on a regular internet connection. Ah, okay. Many plugins don't work without internet access. Yeah, it would just work as it works at the moment, really. There isn't anything different in the way that Totara works in 9 to previous versions. Yeah. I'm just trying to find out if there's any more questions in a moment. Okay. Sorry, and we've also got Sarah Austin here as well, who's the head of learning platforms. I think she's going to just chip in a moment.
Yes, hello. There's one more question. Someone asked, what's the difference between Totara 9 and the new Kineo Totara? If you're talking about the Totara SAS, the Kineo Totara SAS that our next webinar is on, it takes in the same Totara code base. What we're doing is deploying it as a software as a service version that it can't be customized, and it also adds in the ability to do themes. It's a good low-cost solution, ability to do themes by configuration. But in terms of the code base, it has every single standard feature that Totara has.
Okay. Is there any more questions? If not, we're going to sign off then. So thanks ever so much for joining us today. Like I say, at the end of the webinar, you should be emailed a link to this recording. So hopefully it's recorded all right. And also, we do have that webinar on the 24th of November as well, which you will be given an opportunity to sign up for. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us, and I'll say goodbye. Bye.